What's going on, tubers? How y'all doing today? It's been a while, my video. I just realized it's been like a week. Holy crap. I had no idea it had been that long. That's kind of crazy. Guess I was caught up. I was at the on a little mini vacation last week, but yeah, holy crap! I did not even believe that. I've been really balls deep in this car thing, trying to get that put on, started up off the ground, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, holy crap, man! I did not realize that it had been so long. Sorry about that. It's all good. I mean, the reality is, it's not like that many people watch this show anyway, so not a big deal. But still, apologies for people that are watching. All right. Sorry, I just had to log into my live data just to make everything nice and more accurate. You know, don't want to share my password or nothing. All right, anyway, so since the last video, it looked like it was... let me look at my calendar. It was last weekend, I guess, I did it. Oh, man, it was the monthly close. Wow, so it's actually been like 8 days. Holy moly. Anyway, who cares about that? Let's talk about some price action. Let's play catch up here a little bit. So, Bitcoin, because the last video was around this cluster, I believe. Very nice. Coming up here, got continuation, and then ultimately got pretty damn bullish when this candle, this is what we were looking for, is getting clear in this red horizontal box here. Let me clean it up a little bit. Which we've been watching for a long time. And we did get above that. We did get DMI also on this candle, which is why I have this horizontal line drawn. So as long as we're above that, bulls are pretty much getting back in control at this point. I mean, even on the weekly, it looks pretty good. I mean, I guess the weekly does just close. Let's see how it closes, because it's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, because it'll be the first one possibly closing above a lot of this resistance zone. And it's still got a day left, so... But so far, it does look really good. And on the daily, man, as long as we're above this, like, 51,000 handle, we're probably good to go. You can see it is stalling at this last horizontal that we have drawn on here. Pretty funny, right to the damn T. Getting a little bit of a rejection so far. So, not like the prettiest thing, but it's not really a big concern. I wouldn't even really care until this dropped back below, 51-ish K. On a daily. So nothing crazy. I mean, all the oscillators look pretty nice. This is kind of interesting. On the RSI, broke out. So we were looking for this for the breakout. Then it comes back and retests the upper part of it and immediately bounces pretty good. So not too shabby. Let's go zoom in a little bit. Yeah, you can kind of see here a little bit of just indecision since the 6th of October, which is actually, since Wednesday. So that is a little bit interesting that we're not able to kind of at least even get price above 56 for more than it looks like, hell, about 15, 20 minutes back over here on the 8th. And not even 5 minutes over here on the actual 6th. So... what are bulls supposed to do? They're supposed to make price go up, and they did pretty good so far, but they are stalling a little bit. And today is Saturday too, and a lot of times you get some sell-offs on Saturday evenings. Will we get that this Saturday? Possibly. Let's go look at this damn thing. Look at this little trend line here, and I like to make my trend lines blue. So, I mean, as long as it's also riding up this, it's probably fine. Ultimately, that 51,000 handle. If it does break this trend line, I'd probably look for an immediate test into the around 51K, and then we'll have to kind of reassess from there. But right now, it looks fine. I will say the one thing I don't like about this rally, it is very, very aggressive. It is pretty much straight up. And yeah, Bitcoin does do that sometimes. For sure, so that's not like super crazy, especially this last time when it passed. Let's zoom in over here. When it first came back up to like 20K, the previous all-time highs, and then it just broke out of it and went straight up for about a month or so. And October is generally pretty bullish too for crypto. So we're kind of getting a little bit of seasonality play in there. But this looks pretty damn sexy as long as we're above 51,000 handle. Break this on the lower time frames. I'll probably go visit that and test it. That would be good to backfill that before this starts to get a little frothy, too frothy, because I mean this is pretty much straight up. And but other than that, man, it does look pretty damn good. I think long term, I would like to see a weekly open and close above 51,000. That would give me a lot more confidence that this rally is very real. Everything does look pretty good. I like this engulfing candle off these lows, off all these EMAs, off of the mama here. I mean, so all that looks pretty damn nice. There is no momentum, though, on the oscillators for the weekly. So that would likely happen with what I was just saying. If we could get an open and close above the 51K handle on the weekly, then I would start thinking this is very sustainable, and we probably will go tap in the upper 50s and possibly even the previous all-time high in the mid-60s. Let's go to Bitcoin futures. Pretty decent close here, and kind of the same thing, except a little lower, above like 50-ish K open and close. If this weekly could do that, coming up, and it's close. It's trying to get into the power zone. We'll see if we can do that this coming week. If we do that, I guess next week technically, since these are futures, it's only Monday to Friday. But yeah, we get an open and close above about 51,002 here. That would be nice for Confluence. And right now it looks okay. Nothing too crazy there. We gotta go 3 hour for this. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Kind of showing us the same little trend line and possible pullback zone to about the low 50s. So Ethereum. All right, so Ethereum is interesting here. Ethereum is not making a higher high. It actually doesn't look near as good as Bitcoin. I don't even think that on DMI that it's officially crossed over 26. No, it has not. So this is probably the more concerning thing, because Ethereum was like running the game for a little while as far as price action. And you can see we came right to the 618 area where Bitcoin did come to, which is this previous one, but it only stayed there for like barely a day and went right past it. So it is a little bit interesting and concerning that Ethereum is not able to get past its 618 retracement zones or get any momentum either shift on the daily DMI. So that is a little bit concerning for Ethereum. And we have lost momentum on the RSI so far. So, you know, to be fair, Ethereum actually does look like it wants to come back down here to maybe like 3,400-ish, and maybe even as deep as 33. You know, that was that previous range we were looking at. Is pretty easy for the range in the horizontals on the chart. It was pretty much 27 to 3, 3,000 to 3,300, and the longer we can stay above 3,300, the more likely it is we will come up here and probably test the highs again. But kind of stalling out here for now. And no momentum shift. So Bitcoin is definitely kind of taking some people's lunches. Oh, excuse me. Bitcoin's definitely, I guess, let's look at dominance real quick. We don't really look at that often. Yeah, dominance is coming off this base. So Bitcoin's like, hey, no, bitch, I'm the mama bear. And there is something interesting actually right here. There is an H pattern. I don't look at this often enough. I probably should, but most of the time it's boring as hell. There is an H pattern right here on the dominance. And this is kind of wild that this is playing out on price action too. Of course, the major resistance, whoa, that's sloppy, is right around there at about 48-ish. If we got back above 48 on this chart, Bitcoin will probably really start to take people's lunches. So kind of interesting chart there. Anyway, back to Ethereum. Kind of just struggling right here at the horizontal, and it is starting to round ever so slightly, but man, it's right above the 21 EMA still too. So it's definitely not bearish. I would consider this pretty neutral price action. Because we're just floating right underneath the 618 retracement, which is a very critical area, and we're just kind of hanging out right there right now. So until we really got above this, above 3,700, You know, it looks good, but I think the run has sort of happened in Ethereum so far, it looks like, and now price and the market is digesting to see if this is acceptance of these new highs. But right now we're kind of just double topping this little previous area from back over here. So until we get really above that on Ethereum, I'd be a little skeptical of this price action right here. Because look at even right back here after this candle, the momentum has been sucked out via DMI, and I'm looking at that down here because it's really, really tight in between the neutral zone, which is the 16 and the 26. So it's like, pretty rough. So, and this candle actually is not very pretty. I don't like yesterday's close after a doji the previous day. So pretty indecisive. Not looking near as great as Bitcoin, that's for sure. So, let's see what futures did. Yeah, futures, whatever. There's just not much data on them, so the weekly doesn't really give us much. Just pretty much the closing number. It's about 30, almost 3,700. Yeah, so we're like, okay, about $100 off that now. Yeah, I don't know. I just can't get as excited specifically about Ethereum as the other coins, which is kind of surprising. All right, let's go to Litecoin. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, Litecoin's literally smacking this stupid range box again. If it can stay up here above like 170-ish for another few days into this week, we will have a pretty good reset. But man, this is a dangerous zone for position taking on Litecoin right here in the middle. Okay, looks like XRP is trying to get going again on the bull side. Interesting. This is actually a pretty good close in 3 hours. If we close above like 113 on XRP, we probably will test 130s on this guy. So that one actually looks pretty decent. I like this little drift here. I like this confirmation candle of the breakout, and it's even above all of these bodies. So above about 110-ish on XRP is actually pretty bullish. XLM, yeah, kind of in the. This is kind of sloppy. Nothing. I don't really like that much. ETC. We're kind of, whoa, why can't I, oh, it's locked. Hold up. Let's open that up. Expand in there. So you can kind of see this, we're riding up under the belly here. We get it back above like 58 bones. Man, this thing is probably going to run to 60s, like mid 60s I could see. It's a pretty decent target. This is actually a pretty good setup on ETC as long as it's holding about $52. ETC actually looks kind of good here. Does have major resistance at that 58 level. We're almost there. We did almost test it too earlier today. But ETC looking a little bit better than some of the other ones. DOT's actually looking pretty decent here too. Coming basing out of here, going sideways, letting the EMAs catch up. And now, man, I mean, above $33, actually, DOT looks pretty damn good above $33. I can't really hate on it until it gets below that. Yeah, I mean, EMAs, yeah, shit, DOT actually looks pretty damn good. ADA. So if this market's going to keep going, ADA is probably going to pump at some point. And let's see what the risk is on this. I might take a little stab on this guy. Yeah, wow, it's less than 10% to this local low, or the immediate one, but the local one is about 10 to 15%. But, you know, and there's no momentum at all. It is interesting that ADA is not rallying hard. Like, it was kind of a leader before. But this is kind of charged up. If this market's going to stay bid for a little bit, we probably test into the 240s on ADA. So not too shabby, Cardano. Link kind of attempting to base out up here too. I mean, Link actually looks pretty damn good above 2550. Below 2550, I'd start to get pretty concerned on that guy. But man, smack in the middle of this range. That's a tough one. That is a tough one, because at least even ADA is on top. It's like floating right on top of the previous all-time high. That looks pretty damn good. Link is not. It's just really in the middle of almost the entire year's business. So, yeah, not my favorite one there. EOS, not very great either. It's trying to break out here. I guess you could be okay bullish from like 475-ish. Maybe it's got a little attempt to get up to about 520. It is trying to break out of this little trend line. Man, does this trend line actually kind of anchor from back here? Yeah, sort of. It's kind of sloppy. I'd almost kind of split it. Yeah, either way you do it. It's kind of just sitting right there at the resistance zone, and we are right between these horizontals too. So not the better one. I think ADA, ETC, and DOT look better. Let's see, BCH. You do have a very, very definite trend line there. Definite. That's not no word. Just making words up. We do break this trend line. I would look for probably at least down to the mid 500s, possibly lower. But right now it's just kind of riding this trend line. Not really any momentum. Looks like we need a little bit more time on some of these alts. Man, BSV pumping pretty hard here. I think they had some kind of conference recently. Whatever, it doesn't even matter. Who cares? It's a pump fest. Pretty nice getting back up over this mid 140s. I mean, the lower time frame does have pretty decent structure. And we actually do... but look at this candle. I hate when this happens. When you get DMI goes bullish, but then it's at the very top of a range. Like looking to the left here, you can see all around here, even all on this. It's like right on top of all this shit here. And yeah, and especially when there's no follow through. Yeah, it kind of sucks. That kind of does suck, unfortunately, for BSV. Probably for me, I definitely won't pick capital on this one. I mean, we're right at the top of this range here. If we go to the weekly, you can really see it. I mean, look at this. Looking left, I mean, look at all that business, man. Mega resistance there. And really needs a weekly close above like 190. We get that going, we probably are going to see a pretty good pump to like 240 or something like that. So, all right, XMR is pretty much reset on the daily, although the momentum, see, this is what's interesting. A lot of the daily DMI momentum is not showing positive reads. On some stuff it is, but it's like 50-50 right now so far. And I haven't been through a lot of these charts in a while. Looks like we kind of have a little trend line right there too. Resistance. So not too shabby. Above 240s. It looks okay. You kind of have this rejection candle here. So tough. This is kind of a tough read. If I really had to trade this, if it went back below like 265, 270, I'd probably look for the other end of that range, about 250. But we hold 265, 270. It actually has a little bit of a bullish bias to it for sure. ZEC. No. No, I don't like ZEC. There's nothing really there. Dash, kind of like ZEC, just really weak. Really relatively weak compared to the other coins that have been pumping. No really edge anywhere. Don't like that either. Doge to dollar, or Doge to BTC is hanging on by a thread. Let's go to dollar because it has pumped fairly decently off that 20-ish cent low. And we're trying to come up and hang out above this 24 penny area. You can see we did get a spike all the way up into the 28 to 30 cent handle. That is the mega super supply demand zone there. There's just so much business there. So you can see it did get a swift rejection with a doji, although it's a gigantic doji. It's literally a 25% from wick to tail doji, but you can see we've already got follow through to the downside. This is holding on by a thread. I don't really like this read for Doge. I know everyone's all super excited that Shiba and all this other crap's gonna do what Doge did. If Doge can do it, so can Shiba. It's like, well, that's not really how that works, but whatever. Anyway, looks okay as long as it's holding like 23 half-ish. I don't like this set of daily candles, though. Not my favorite. And no momentum. The bulls never got any real power off of this run. And I'm looking at DMI to judge that. And right at this trend line, not that great. Not that great. For me to switch and get real bullish on Doge, I'd really have to see the daily at least cross this trend line at minimum. And ultimately, I'd like to see it consolidate and hang around above 27 for a little bit. If we start doing that, I will definitely start getting big bull boners for Dogecoin. Hex just going sideways. Look at this range. We've been watching for a lot of videos. It's just chilling sideways. It is starting to make lower lows and lower highs, although very, very slightly. You got here and here and here. Those are all lower highs, and then here and here and here. These are lower lows, technically. So, yeah, and look at the DMI. So we're in a little consolidation zone, and this has done it a few times. That did have continuation for sure. But, right now the momentum is gone, so we're right in the middle of the range. This thing could either dump 50% or probably run like 50%. So 50-50 shot there. Let's go look at equities. Equities looked all right over the week. Kind of a little crazy week. Little dump fest. Looked like it was going to make some new lows. Gets caught up, bid up. Friday kind of just does whatever. I think Friday's action is kind of telling us that it's not as good as it looks. Oh, I got to wrap this up like super fast. Holy crap, it's already 3:50. I got to go run the restaurant. All right, anyway. Yeah, until it gets back above this trend line, I'm just not really excited about it. This is something that's very concerning to me. That this is the longest that the indices have hung out on their long-term MAs on a daily, and I'm using the 55 EMA to judge that currently. And that's the longest they've hung out below this since the Corona crash. And, that's coming up on freaking 2 years now, which is crazy and doesn't seem that it's been that long. But it's been, coming up on 2 years, and we have to bring that forward, that bears are actually, there's actually momentum building for bears in this case right now. Because all the last times, look at this, here's like 4 days, here's like 2 days, and immediately just gets bid up hard and fast. We did it here, bid up hard and fast right here, look at this. But look what happened, rejection, no, lower high, lower low, continuation. To me, this is telling me that bears have a lot more skin in the game than they have and momentum than they've had this entire rally since Corona started. And that's something, you can even see it on DMI if you see the cluster over here in the bottom right. If I make it a little bit bigger, that might help. You can see up here how we're hanging out in the power zone and the bulls are super weak. Look, the bulls have not been this weak the whole rally. So I do think that is very concerning for the bulls in this market right now, and I'm very cautious with taking long positions at the moment. I actually have a short position on the indices as of right now. Same thing with NQ, and they're all showing the same thing. Rallying to 618s, rallying to structure, rallying to 21 EMAs, getting rejections. So that is very interesting. We've really got to get back above these little trend lines, and I don't have it drawn on this, but you can kind of see it right here. Pretty clear. Until we get back above like those trend lines, and these horizontals and some of these EMAs and reset them, this doesn't really look that good to me. Dow, same thing. Dow does have a little bit slightly different pattern. You could argue there is some kind of W pattern right here. So they look a little bit better, but look, it just points us right to the previous all-time high zone. So it's not really that crazy, but this is starting to shape up and look like the damn Russell, just super sideways. I guess the weekly technically kind of has a little rounded top forming. A little early because we got to wait for it to break down. But so Dow's trying to hold in there, but starting to just go sideways and look like the stupid Russell. Guess what? The Russell closed at 22.29. The same damn close it's had probably like 83 times this year. This is just range trade until it's not, man. And I've range traded this a bunch of times in this to the short and long side. But man, You can see even like this compression here at the end of this move. Look how tighter it's getting. And if I put the Bollinger Bands on, they're probably going to be real tight. Yeah, look how tight that is. Super, super tight, man. It's tight like frog pussy. So this guy used to tell me that I worked with in construction. It was really goofy. Anyway, but it's in the middle of the range, so we're not even really getting any info there. Dow Jones looks a lot like the industrials. VIX is still kind of making higher lows, higher highs on intermediate structure. I still think that this has not slingshotted to the upside like it looks like it wants to. This right here, this basing pattern on this cross gives really good probabilities that this thing's going to spike to the upside. Not really. I mean, VIX is hard to read time-wise. It's almost impossible. If we're going to bring this box over, we start getting some sustainable moves above this like 21, 22 area, I would start to really target probably $30 in mid-30s. And VVIX is still staying bid above the horizontal at a hundo. Although it is hanging out below this trend line longer than it has. Although I guess not longer, it's just more frequency here. It's like ping, broke it, rallied, ping, broke it, rallied, ping, break it, rally. Possibly that seems to be the case. Oil, God, oil. We were talking about this last video, how great oil looked. Still getting continuation. It looks like it wants the low 80s. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this chart. It is getting a little bit aggressive, but man, as long as it's riding this trend line and like the daily 21 seems to be what's being respected right now, there's no reason to be bearish. Maybe when we hit the target in the 82 handle, possibly some profit taken will probably happen there. But right now, man, this chart just looks really good. Nat gas looks like it's kind of topping out a little bit. Yeah, anything back below this 480 level, probably even like 550 gets us to 480. So not as, I mean, it already kind of had its move or whatever shit. It's almost like tripled from this 250 area. So pretty wild. Big run. Everybody's all like, oh, cold winters, cold this, blah, 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 whatever. You know, it's getting a little hyped up. Bonds just continue to keep selling off. Notes, same thing. I mean, they're all the way back down at their lows. Pretty damn crazy. TNX, obviously that's going to be inverse. And I'm kind of just flying through these because I got to go. Oh, let's do gold. Gold's trying to do something. Nasty rejection, though, on Friday. Kind of like markets. I don't like that move at all. I wanted to see this close above 17, like 65, 1770. Sort of some bullness. But, man, giving up all your pump in the same day on a critical level is pretty shitty. So, pretty neutral to bearish on that now after that. We are trying to base here on silver. It does look like this turned into like a little fake out stop hunt or something like that, but just not my favorite charts right now. We need some more time. The one that does look better is platinum. Platinum did come up and close above some of these bodies here, although just slightly, but it did do it. And the daily looks pretty damn good, closing above all this. This is what I wanted to see gold do, and it did not. Gold gave it all up, so that kind of sucks. And we are finally breaking this trend line right here. So platinum, for me, will probably be a rebuy on dips now until we break back below 950. So there we go. Let's go to Bitcoin real quick for the quarterly chart, and then I got to get the hell out of here. I'm already going to be late. Whoops. Quarterly, what does it show us? Nothing. Nothing really. It shows major resistance at 60K and major support in the mid-low 30s. It doesn't really show us much more than that. How about for ES? ES's quarterly is a... Man, let's clean this up a little bit. ES quarterly, that's pretty ugly. I don't like that. A little shooting star type doji. So that's kind of nasty. That's kind of nasty. Yeah, whatever. I think the ugliest one on this is the monthly. This monthly is not sexy. That's an engulfing monthly candle. So you can pretty much, off candle price action analysis alone, you can pretty much say that the rally is iced up until price gets back above like 4,500. And you can zoom in, obviously, on the weekly and use probably like about 4,450-ish, looks like. But yeah, I mean, long-term chart stuff, yeah, not great. All right, wrap up with Bitcoin. I got to use. Looks fine above, let's turn back our horizontal, above this 51,000 handle. It is a little bit aggressive to the upside, so I would be cautiously bullish here. Any break of this trend line or back below 53.5-ish, I would look for 51 to get tested, and then we'll have to reassess from there. We start closing back below 51 and dipping into the 40s and threaten this 618 area again, then this is probably going to get faded, and it's probably going to come back down into the mid-40s if that does happen. Conversely, though, we keep riding this, which we'll know probably in the next day or two. We keep riding this. We get a couple dailies, open and close above this 55.5 area. Man, it's probably going to be party time, boys and girls and all that shit, whatever. All right, and Ethereum is looking a little bit weaker than Bitcoin for sure. There's no momentum on the DMI oscillation, but we do have the EMA's structure looking fairly good. But I don't like that it's stalling at this major area where Bitcoin did not do. So need a little bit more time on Ethereum to see if the bulls are really going to have the strength to keep this rally sustained. A couple of the ones that did look really good and a little bit lower risk management entries is ADA, ETC, and XRP were some of the better charts that I liked on this setup. Anyway, much love, peace. I will see y'all guys tomorrow. And then next week also I'll be doing more shows. I had a lot of kid time because we did some swapping and shit, but now I'll have a lot more free time this coming week, so I will try to put out at least a few episodes this coming week. Awesome. Much love. Y'all have a great weekend. Peace.